you said sales and marketing. We all have linked to sales and marketing at some point. Are we missing the skills of storytelling of Pakistani products or Pakistani brands or anything like that? Or is it how do you see it? You're American in Karachi, so how do you see that? If you think the Pakistani products, is that storytelling part, like branding part, missing, or is
I think the story of Pakistan itself has been missing on the global stage. It's been diluted by the wars in the region, where most people have a very little understanding of what Pakistan is about, the culture that's here. Now, when we talk and bring that down to the product level, I think that, again, people are missing the story of Pakistan. The companies themselves do a much better job of branding themselves as compared to the overall region as a hub for great products. As Golamet is putting out great products, Mediplas is putting out great products. There's a lot of great products that are used globally that no one knows that they actually come from Pakistan until they look at the label. And I think that this is, as you point out, a great opportunity. This is also where I think a lot of Pakistani companies that have been focused domestically for so long now have a need for US dollars in the export notion, especially with the economic crunch. So because of that, they've become much more open to joint ventures and partnerships with marketing companies outside of Pakistan.
I think the storytelling bit is not out there. So they are great stories, but at a national level, we haven't had a cohesive act put together based on the company. At times you look at a product and say, oh, it's made in Pakistan, and you really get a surprise because the quality is what you're looking for. But again, as a nation, we haven't been able to say the story out loud. And that is something that the companies can help do. It's not just the country that, needs to say that story, but when you are exporting your products, you can make a story around the company as well as the country, which will help raise that awareness and, give us the desired result in terms of getting Pakistan known as a quality product producer.
I think this question is probably you're the best to answer because you're one of the best storytellers we have for Pakistan. Right? You've managed to get finished businesses here in a situation which is very tough. But I think we tend to look at storytelling also just from a communications and a PR and that point of view. But I feel like that individual interaction that we have and that interaction itself creates stories, right? I mean, you've been here for 20 years. I think you tell the story best of Pakistan. You're probably more positive sometimes than the Pakistanis are. So those interactions that we have as business organizations and the story we are creating every time we interact with people from other countries, I think that's important as well, is how are we telling that story? What are the sides of Pakistan that we're bringing? How are we delivering service to other countries, to other foreign partners that we work with? Because that kind of builds the confidence in the bigger story of Pakistan, is not necessarily just us, putting a few ads out there, but it's more about how are we as businesses interacting and creating this groundswell of smaller interactions that create that story of Pakistan. Interestingly, now if you have any question, you always go to ChatGPT for answers. So I put in what are the success stories between Finland and Pakistan, and the three companies that came up were Stella, Nokia, and I forget the third one is the dental
Plan Mecca.
But there wasn't any Pakistani company. It was all three Finnish companies. So we're not telling our stories, success stories that we have necessarily from Pakistan to Finland, which is something, again, we need to do as Tabassum was mentioning, the consistency, the branding, and all of those things are important. So I think it's the storytelling is at multiple levels.
I guess it's like Shakespeare said, the only thing people remember more than good news is bad news. And unfortunately, these days with social media and all the stories that come out, even though there's a lot of good news, it's that one bad story which comes out, which kind of takes over and eclipses everything else which exists, which is there. And if you look at it, I mean, what are the stories that come out? The stories are the, interactions, either people to people, company to company. So it's the people that you end up meeting or the companies that you partner with, which end up making how the story is going to end. And like in any country, you have to really do your homework and do your background checks, to kind of figure out who is the company that you would like to work with. And if you just try to go in and kind of meet people without doing the right background checks, I mean, if you come to Pakistan, you've got your Pakistan Finland Business Council, you've got people like Willie, maybe other people who are connections. You should make sure that the checks are thorough because you can end up with the best partner in the world or the worst partner in the world. And I think it's that success story or that story of failure, which is actually going to then go and multiply and go across the globe. And if we have a few good success stories, I think then Pakistan will, enjoy a good reputation abroad in the market. And just that one failure which occurs will kind of shut down all the successes you've had before. So I think it's all our duty to make sure if people come to us, to make sure we put them in touch with the right people and give them the right advice. So I think that's kind of what I've got to say on that.
Anthony, if you have something.
Willie, there's one more thing I wanted to add, and that is the local Pakistani companies also have an opportunity to invest in marketing and advertising and their brand identities. And this is something that typically is not catered to inside of the marketing budgets. Most marketing budgets here in Pakistan domestically are focused, as Tabassum can speak more to, focused primarily on sales. And that's considered marketing. And I think worldwide there's a big difference in that definition of what sales is versus marketing.
Absolutely. And I think, one of the things that is very critical is understanding branding. How can you make your product very distinct? Create a USP that is just particular to your product, and then brand it around that. And as absolute investment into branding and the distinction between, as you mentioned, the sales and marketing. That's very critical because once you start to understand that distinction, you will be able to create that brand. And then you can charge a premium for that brand because it will be distinct to you. Another thing is word of mouth. We talked about stories. The best advertising is word of mouth. That's where actually, someone you can trust, you can talk to, will give you that referral, and you've got the deal. So I think that is very critical.